Hi, I'm Jeremy Piasecki, the Executive Director of Culture and Sports, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to this special panel of Shoemaker and Culture and Sports talking about just the um, importance of trusted advisors and what their role is um, and why it can help your organization. Um, we have on Bob Boland, um, and Michael Chapman from Shoemaker, Loop, and Kendrick. Bob, I'd like to turn this over to you, and you can get us going here on this panel.
Thanks, Dr. Piasecki. It's my pleasure to be with you and to represent the law firm where I'm proud to hang my shingle as a practitioner out at. I joined Shoemaker about 2 years ago in their sports group after my 5 years as athletic integrity officer at Penn State. And I was impressed by my friend who heads the sports practice, Bennett Spire, but I helped to build this practice. But Shoemaker's goals and the goals of culture and sports, two organizations I've had a chance to be really close to, really align closely with my own in and around sports and trying to be the best advisor to the people I get to encounter in sports. And I was thrilled that the work I get to do at Shoemaker, representing athletes, representing coaches, representing individuals and athletic directors. A principal part of our practice is the representation of coaches and athletic directors, doing investigations, working in NIL with both institutions and collectives, helping set up best practice in this space, interpreting the NCAA guidelines. And now having Michael join the practice, my former student at Ohio University, but who joined the practice about a year and a half ago. We now represent people in the Olympic space in the national governing body Safe Sport organization. So we've had a chance to do that on both sides of the border in a couple of different projects. We've gotten to do it in the U.S. and we're very proud to be a holistic sports partner and hopefully be a trusted advisor to our clients and to the larger public. And I think that matches what culture and sports does for us, giving us an opportunity to provide thought leadership, to engage with different people, and to share best practice. And Michael, thanks. I'll let you kind of chip in.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, so I joined. Yeah, it's actually we're coming up on 2 years, and I think in November, December this year. And my just a little bit about my background. I spent about 3 years at the U.S. Center for Safe Sport after I graduated from Ohio University with my master's in sports administration, helping build up the compliance department there and the compliance function that was being started as a result of the Safe Sport Authorization Act. So I kind of cut my teeth on that side of things. And then left to pursue some other ventures. And when I got back into the practice of law, I've advised national governing bodies. We've done investigations. We've done any number of things at that front. But Bob, I've been fortunate enough to help you on the college side as well in terms of an athlete or two that needs help, helping coaches, doing any number of things in the sports space. So to your point, what I love is that my day is never the same when I work in the sports practice. I do something different every day, and I enjoy doing something different every day because I think it keeps me sharp, even for the things that I maybe do more regular than others. So yeah, thanks for having me, and I'm glad I was able to join y'all.
Jeremy, I'm always thrilled to be here with you, and this is a great pleasure. And obviously, you're taking on a topic today that's very much in our wheelhouse, the future of college sports. As I said, our sports practice does some work in pro sports. It does work in the Olympic movement. It does some work on behalf of athletes, but principally we're focused in the college space, some part of our footprint. And Shoemaker is an Am Law 200 law firm, about just under 300 lawyers, or around 300 lawyers. Offices that run from Minneapolis to South Florida. We're kind of nervous and obviously hopeful that our offices in Sarasota and Tampa and St. Petersburg and other places in Florida all get through this terrible storm coming to us. But I think our goal is always as practitioners to be holistic, to see the space at a press box view level, so that we don't only see one position or one side, but we see a way to make positive change for our clients. And as I've said, my background is the athletic integrity officer at Penn State, helping university recover from probably at least the first of the worst athletic scandals out there, I've kind of come to this view of compliance, that the greatest aspect that ethics and compliance officers can do isn't necessarily to prevent a bad thing from happening, but at least never let it go on and never make it worse. And so our best advice is, how can you act in a moment when things happen that are not quite up to standard? How can we make those be correctable and create cultures by which we can fix them before they fester and get worse? And that's really one of our goals at Shumaker. The advice we want to provide to our clients, our institutions, our athletes, anyone we're working with in any moment, we're always trying to do the best for them in the moment, and what's also the best for the entire ecosystem.
Yeah. What we do is culture sports. I mean, you have such a huge and extraordinary law firm that you work with, Bob and Michael. What we do at Culture Sports, we're a little bit smaller. We're a group of volunteers, all volunteers with our nonprofit organization. But our goals, I think, are still the same. Is we want to help, not only organizations but coaches and especially athletes, perform at their highest levels. Right. That's what we want to do. That's what we're all trying to do. Even from a legal standpoint, when you're helping, a college athletic department, your goal is for that, for those teams to win and the athletes to perform at their highest levels. And that's what we're trying to do here at Culture and Sports. And with Culture and Sports, we do it through education and messaging. So our messaging is articles and podcast video shows, our Sports Leader of the Year program, our monthly culture roundtables, and our annual leadership summit here. Is that's how we're doing. We're having these conversations. We're talking at colleges and universities. We have a curriculum for I'm sorry, for leadership and culture for coaches and sports. And so we're doing all these things that what we can, not as preventative, and I would never see it as preventative, but more as educating. And then on the back end of that, and say there is a horrible situation, we try to help organizations through toxic recovery, right? So everything's bad. Athletes left, coaches are fired, whatever the case may be. And we try to help piece that all together. And we try to say, trust and leadership and organizational culture are what's going to bring you, to new levels and where your organization needs to be. And that's why I think that, both Shumaker and Culture and Sports, that's why we as trusted advisors are incredibly important.
Mike, how about from your perspective? How does the partnership work? How do we make it better, and how do we make our world better?
I kind of see it as, right. You and I, Bob, we have clients that we're expected to advise and to be a trusted advisor for. And I see Culture and Sports as, yes, they have some of that as well, but I also see culture as kind of a thought leader in the space and as a way to kind of, help bring the entire space forward. And how are we bringing best practices from you and I, Bob, for the ones we have with other people that we know and that can connect with us in Culture and Sports, and kind of bring it full circle. So I think from that perspective, like, what I love about our relationship with Culture and Sports is you and I are maybe in the day-to-day nitty-gritty work of doing it all the time with a specific client, and what we're doing is depending on what our client is asking us to do and what we need. And Culture and Sports still does some of that, but especially the thought leadership, I think, is extremely important, because I think you and I might think there's a best way to do things, Bob, but especially through something like the summit here today, we get to hear from other people and other advisors and what are their best practices, what do they think, and maybe some of the way we do things changes, or maybe some of the way they do things adapt to maybe the way we think that they should be done. So I think, just from a perspective of like the synergy of, we're not competing with Culture and Sports for clients, but we can work together to kind of, a rising tide lifts all boats. Culture and Sports helps us from that perspective, and then we're helping our clients, and it kind of just really, hopefully, to Jeremy's point, you want people to enjoy participating in sports. You want them to get the value out of it. I think that's a huge piece for culture, and that's ultimately what we want for our clients. I think you would agree, Bob, is we want our clients who are participating in sports, whether as a coach or an athlete or whatever the case may be, to get the benefit from it that they can.
Well, thank you so much. That really does sort of sum it up. I would probably say, before we send you back to our next panel with our newest member of our sports team, Diana Florence, moderating, I know you can't come to work with Shumaker, but you can investigate us and learn more about us on the web at Shumaker.com. Jeremy, why don't you tell the people who are in the queue how they might work with culture and sports in other ways before we say goodbye to this session?
Thanks for bringing that up. So obviously you can go to our website, cultureandsports.com. You can learn about all the projects and programs we currently do. And you can also feel free to reach out to us anytime to have a conversation at info@cultureandsports.com.
Thank you so much. We'll see you back in a session in about 2 minutes.